Welcome to the Friendly Fades. Yesterday's podcast, we talked about building a team anchored around two elite quarterbacks. Is that the best strategy, or is there other ways to win? Let's get into it.
I hopped on late on the podcast yesterday and I heard Jimmy bringing up, I think a pretty common question in fantasy. If we're talking redraft, dynasty, it's like, where do I take a quarterback or what's the value of a quarterback? And for me, I've always, in redraft, I never take a quarterback in the first two rounds. I never
No
do.
one does. Yeah, no one does.
No one does. And I mean, because there's only three quarterbacks that to me are worth that. It's like Josh Allen, Hurts because of that tush push and the amount of rushing he gives, and then probably Lamar Jackson. And those are the only three quarterbacks, if you wanted to, you take in those first three rounds.
Hmm.
But I think the issue comes with when you reach for a quarterback so high and drafting, then the rest of your team kind of suffers. So even with Dynasty, I know everyone in the first couple rounds they went quarterback, and I think the only teams that didn't were me and Philip.
Yeah, I went quarterback back to back because that
Hey,
was some of the advice I got. Get two quarterbacks because you're gonna have them forever.
and that's what everybody thinks. So I think anybody who plays Dynasty and Superflex are like, okay, I'm going quarterback, and they all do it, and it leaves I mean, I took CD Lamb and Bijan Robinson, bro, and Philip got Jamar Chase and Amon St. Brown, and by doing that, we were able to snag quarterbacks in the later rounds. And I think these are the type of quarterbacks that can win you leagues. Like I got there was Jared Goff was there, Baker Mayfield. The thing that happened with me, bro, is I tr- I I fucked up because my goal was, okay, let me try to I like Jared Goff a lot. I like Dak Prescott. I like Baker Mayfield. I like those lower tier quarterbacks because I think you can get them way later and their value still they're still super high. Because if you think about it right now, Dak Prescott and Jared Goff, I was looking at it earlier today. They're number 5 and 6 in fantasy.
Really.
Number 5 and 6, bro. And
But
Josh
then you can argue though that the drop off between 1, 2, and 3 is pretty big in production.
It is, but you can win with those type of quarterbacks, and the asking price to go get those type of quarterbacks are a lot easier to obtain because this is what happened with me. I didn't have I mean, anyone who's listening, I went from a last place team, bro, to a contender in 1 year, and my goal was to go get a quarterback. Now I inquired about those top quarterbacks, but the asking price for those quarterbacks are
Yeah, that's
insane,
true.
bro.
Like me,
Like
bro, I'd be asking ridiculous for Joe.
And I don't even know if it's possible to trade those guys. I don't know if Jimmy, for instance, Jimmy has Josh Allen, right? I don't know if there's a trade that makes sense for Jimmy to move off of him. So he's gonna have a positional advantage, right? But for someone who needs a quarterback, and I think people who are in the market for a quarterback, I don't think you need to go get one of those players to win it all. And
Hmm.
I think when you do that, you really compromise your team because, for instance, I kicked the tires on Josh Allen with Jimmy, and I think Jimmy was like, okay, we didn't even think of this was just throwing out ideas, and Jimmy's like, okay, give me Saquon Barkley, give me Jared Goff, and give me some picks, and that's probably worth it. But for me, I was like, dude, there's no way I'm gonna do that because if you look at the gap of what I got from a Dak. So then I was like, okay, I'm not doing that. But I went to go get Dak Prescott. Now looking back at it, the asking price for Dak Prescott was way cheaper than it would to go get a Josh Allen. And Dak Prescott this year is
Yeah,
top.
because you got Dak as like almost like a throw in, right? Like
I
an
got Dak.
additional piece, not
I
like
got
a focal point of the trade, right?
No, he was a focal point for me,
Oh,
but he
okay.
wasn't a focal point of the trade that I made. But I wanted to target Dak Prescott, and Dak Prescott's number 5 in the league for quarterbacks this year. So I just think when when you want to, and Jimmy, he has Drake May and Josh Allen, which is that is a crazy quarterback duo. And I think he was talking about how he feels like the quarterback position is kind of undervalued in our league. And I think it's not undervalued, bro. It's how the fuck do you go get one of those players without sacrificing
Yeah,
your
he
whole team?
lucked out on Drake May. He
He
didn't
lucked.
know Drake May was going to be what he's starting to be.
No, Jimmy lucked out with Drake May. So now Jimmy has an elite quarterback room, and he could work off of that. But I think as other teams, I think people who are starting dynasty, I think it's important to you can go get quarterbacks that are more affordable and don't shop outside of your mean. It's like Trevor Lawrence, that's someone I'm targeting. I would target at the end of this year. And I've been saying Trevor Lawrence, bro. I've been saying Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like for instance, if I wanted to go Trevor Lawrence, his asking price, I mean, it's a little high now because he had that 6 touchdown game, and people are like starting to see that
Yeah, but like
when
2 weeks ago, man, before the trade deadline,
yeah. Because for me, if I want to go get like a Trevor Lawrence, I think a Brock Purdy's a good buy. Think like Jared Goff's a good buy. Baker Mayfield. For me to go get those type of players, I'm not gonna have to sacrifice my entire team. Where if I went to you to go get Joe Burrow, you're gonna ask for a lot for Joe Burrow because
especially a team like mine, because it takes such a big hole from my team.
exactly it's gonna put a big hole in everyone's team who wants to go get an elite quarterback. So I'm saying if you don't have a Josh Allen or a Jalen Hurts or a Lamar Jackson, I think you're better off building a team with like those kind of lower tier players. And that's where I am with that whole situation.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think, from Jimmy's standpoint, like from his situation, he's getting production of like three high level skill players with two quarterbacks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I understand where he was coming from there, because I don't know if you heard him say he was like, I'm basically with two getting production of like three pretty consistently.
But
The thing that so I agree with that, but the one thing that I don't like about building with the two quarterbacks is you have so much dependency on one position. So if an injury does happen, that can really put you in a
yeah, so now okay, if I told you what quarterback group would you rather have? Would you rather have Dak Prescott and Jared Goff, which I have, or would you rather have Drake May and Josh Allen? And 10 out of 10 people will probably say, "Damn, I want Drake May and Josh Allen." Like
Yep.
that sounds so crazy. You know what the difference is for a week to week basis with those two players? 5 points. My quarterback room versus Jimmy's quarterback room is 5 points. But when you hear from the outside, you're like, "Damn, like that he's killing it," which he is. Like I'd rather have his quarterback situation, but the week to week points is only 5 points. And I think I heard Jimmy say that's like those type of players is giving him a flex option. Well, if your only flex is giving you 5 points, you know what I'm saying? Like it does it does give you a positional advantage, but it's not as big as it looks like when you're actually like breaking down the numbers.
Mm.
And I think when I just think that like people going into this off season and it's like people want to get quarterbacks, but I think you got to go look at like those more affordable quarterbacks. And in the long run, your team's going to be a lot better.
Yeah, I would do. So I did it with the quarterbacks to start. I would redo it if I can redraft today. I wouldn't go quarterbacks. I'd go quarterbacks like third or fourth round, honestly, maybe.
Yeah. But I mean, every information that you get out there is like take your quarterbacks early in the super flex. Go get your quarterback early. And it's like that is true if you can snag them. If you can get a Josh Allen and a Drake May or a Jalen Hurts and then pair it with like those, you want an elite quarterback with like a good like floor quarterback too, like a Matthew Stafford or a Baker Mayfield. But don't I don't think you want to break up your team to go get one of those quarterbacks because then that just puts you in like a continuous hole.
Yeah.
Like you hold on to one of those quarterbacks, like what is your asking price for like a Joe Burrow? Like you probably can't even create something in your head because it's hard to
I
even
feel like I
trade them.
really can't. I feel like because Joe Burrow's stock price is down right now, like for me to move off him to make my team better, I don't know. It's going to be difficult for someone who's willing to pay. Where I think it could even be like a fair trade, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I would do a Trevor Lawrence and like I don't know, like
Like a
what's a
running back or a wide
yeah,
receiver.
like a good running back, like
Yeah.
like a Chase Brown and a Trevor Lawrence for Joe Burrow. Like I could do something like that.
And
You know
like
what I
a
mean?
pick, and like a pick, and that's a and that's a really smart trade. But I don't think people like look at it like that. And it's just another like way to look at the quarterback situation. Like I think in like when you're talking about like fantasy in your team, your goal is to have a positional advantage at every type. You want a quarterback advantage, wide receiver, like you want to plug in those players. And I just think there's two different avenues to doing it, and like you don't have to go buy those like expensive quarterbacks that contend. And I think a lot of teams that go do that, they land up depleting their teams.
Well, think about it from this standpoint, bro. Like, think about like what comes to mind is remember when we gave Kobe all that money and
Yeah.
our team was terrible,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
last 3 4 years of his career, whatever, because they wanted to do him do him right and they paid him,
Yeah.
you don't got resources to go elsewhere. So I think it kind of same principle applies.
Or look at this, bro. Like Shea traded. Okay, so Seabrook started off. This is like in the same ballpark of what we're talking about. It's like these big name elite players that everybody wants because they're big names, and it's like, okay, I want these players so bad, but it's really hard to trade from, and it messes up your team a lot of the time. So like Shea went to go get Justin Jefferson, right? Our very first year we played, and I think he traded Seabrooks, picks, David Montgomery, and Devontae Adams and someone else. And see, Brooks's team got way better by doing that. By trading that high profile asset, he was able to build his roster. And then Shea flipped Justin Jefferson this year for Ashton Genty, draft picks. And it's like, you see what happens when you flip these positional, like these elite players. You could build out your roster. And it's like, both times Justin Jefferson was traded, the person who traded Justin Jefferson got a lot better because these elite players are worth so much, but you can't really afford those players if you don't have the assets. And like both times, both instances, it
Yeah,
worked
no,
out.
I agree. But I think it also looks like that in Jefferson's case because of that situation.
Yeah. Yeah. But what I'm saying is like Justin Jefferson is still, even how he's playing with JJ McCarthy, like he's Justin Jefferson. And, they're going to find a way that he's going to put up great numbers. But it's just these players that have big names. Like everybody wants them. Everybody watches the same fantasy shows. They're watching the guys on ESPN. They're watching NBC. Like you're listening to what Matthew Berry and those guys are saying. It's like they're all targeting the same players and they're all putting these same players in like the same value where it's like, just got to do your homework. And like Jamar Chase has a sexier name than like a Nico Collins. But like Nico Collins gets you that production, and the asking price is not nearly as high as it is to go get a Nico Collins, And I think
Mhm.
you could just build your roster thoroughly with those type of players, bro. So that was just my take on the quarterback situation. I agree with Jimmy. I think like it is good for him to have that positional like advantage because he has the best quarterback room for sure. But
Yeah.
how would it have been if he didn't draft Drake May and him trying to go get a second quarterback? And I don't think you should tear down your roster to go do that. So I'm
Yeah.
curious,
Yeah.
but just different ways. So stay tuned.